Surprised these guys don't care about me at all. The seals would be sneaking off into the water by now. But I'm getting pretty close. Like, that's not very far away. This boat is a rust bucket. Look at this thing. I wonder if it still works. We're not getting close enough to cause any problems. He's like too close. So this is an excellent day where I found some bald eagles, some younger ones. I don't think these ones are a year old. They might be like 2 or 3 years old because this is a little early before most of the bald eagles started hatching. So, but you know, and they're hunting on their own without, I didn't see the older one right nearby. So they're probably doing a bit of their own. Usually the ones that are just born have a pretty hard time hunting, but these guys were eating something they had caught out on a rock here. And this is not right by some of the boats are a bay. I just kind of found this randomly while traveling out west. A lot of people ask me, you know, where I am, and often I don't tell them. But this was just a pull off on Highway 112 out in the very Pacific Northwest, the very on your way out to the very tip of the, if I can say this right, contiguous United States. So if you look up Cape Flattery, this is not where we're not quite there. We're still like an hour away or something, but from that location, but you can kind of see what's going on here on the way out there. You know, we're going to stop by Neah Bay, or actually you saw already some sea lions from Neah Bay in the previous video. And now these guys are just kind of hanging out here on the water. When you're looking out to the water there, you can see the Straits of Juan de Fuca, and across the water is Canada. That other bald eagle in the tree there was out on that rock before earlier, and then they kind of went to hide because, you know, they're always running. I don't know why they're flying away. I mean, I'm also bald, so I feel like they could also come and hang out with me, but no, the bald eagles just fly away and hide in the tree. And since they're super brown right now and don't have the white heads, they're super camouflaged in there. You can barely see, I don't know if you can see that guy in there. I can see where he is because I know where he is, but it's like dead center in the screen. You can see a little bald eagle sitting on a branch there. And, you know, he's hiding from attention, and I'm kind of trying to sneak up on him. And I noticed a lot of the time, you know, I'm in front of him right now, so he's okay with the distance. But if you get under them or you get behind them, then they're far more likely to fly away and escape to some other location. But I'm trying to get a good view, and I'm zooming in and out too much with my phone. This, again, is another video from before I got my new camera. That's so much higher quality. But see, I got a little too close, so he decided to jet out towards the water. That's a safe space, I guess, for him or her. And then they kind of fly back. But we were lucky he kind of flew back in our direction, getting a little look at us. I noticed the younger ones seem to do that more often. The older ones have seen plenty of people, but the younger ones kind of do a flyby sometimes. I think they're a little curious, trying to find out, you know, what's going on over here. Because they're new to the world still, and they haven't seen so many bald people. But he's just kind of flying around in a circle, probably looking for some more fish. They have some amazing eyesight and can see fish even a little ways down into the water sometimes. But they don't dive like the osprey, so well, at least not as often. Sometimes they usually try to grab them from the tip of the water. So now, you know, I would walk back. This is just a crow. I like crows. Some people don't like crows that much, but they're pretty smart. They're supposed to be as smart as a 7-year-old or something. There's an earlier video where both of them are right there, and this guy's taking off because I'm getting too close for his comfort. And the other guy moved back to the spot where the food is. And there's another one. This is where I first entered this little area. It's just off the road, so I was pretty happy and pretty lucky to see all these bald eagles just right off the cuff. You know, unfortunately, the weather is super overcast, so as I'm filming, you know, it's kind of dark. The light's coming out a little bit, here and there, but it's not really, that super. So we have some other better videos from from sunrises and stuff where you can see their silhouettes, and that's kind of nice. But you can't see that so well here. You can just see them sitting right there on that piece of wood, and they're pretty low. I don't think there are humans definitely people that come to this little area, but not as often as in the little towns along Highway 112, where you see the bald eagles eating fish and stuff like that more often. So he's just kind of chilling, and that's a younger one again. So some people get confused; they don't know if it's a bald eagle or a hawk, and generally it can be hard to tell sometimes. But younger bald eagles tend to have a lot more white spots. And they have, as they get a bit older, they get a little bit more white on their head. So years like 1 to 3, it's very hard to tell the difference between them and a large hawk. And then like year 4, they usually start getting a pretty white head with maybe just a little bit of brown left. And by the time they get to 5 years old, they're generally, fully looking like what people would expect a bald eagle to look like, So it's kind of cool that he's just hanging out there. I mean, this is a beautiful area. Probably doesn't come across as well on my phone, but it's very nice. And there's a little river there, and there's a lot of different animals walking around. There's some crabs down below and things like that. And here we got the beautiful bald eagle flying away, which is kind of like the shot you like getting, So you just kind of inch your way closer, and then eventually they decide to take off and go find a more comfortable spot where they want to hang out more, I suppose. And this is just a quick shot of the little river. There's a lot of these along the coastline that you can see. So that's fresh water coming into the salt water, and a nice little bridge. So here we see another bald eagle up in the tree above me that I didn't notice right away. And so we have like 4 of them, I think, out here in this little bay area. Pretty small one. The bay, that is. And then once I walk under him, he's not really comfortable with that, so he's going to decide to fly away in a second, and which is okay. We're just walking. We're not doing anything dramatic to scare them. That's not okay. You shouldn't be doing that. But then they do this a lot of the time from the spit. They fly from the trees out to the water and then come back to a different location in the trees. And not every time I came out to this area a few other times, I didn't see so many bald eagles. I saw some that I could film with my camera where I can zoom in a ton, and way up in the trees, but they're a bit harder to find. This is right off a cliff on 112, so a little cliff that goes down into the water. And sometimes I see this one, and I think they're a partner, and they are just flying along and saying hi to each other, and fishing along this little area, again on Highway 112 up in Clallam County. And so that's pretty cool that they're just sitting there, and this is hunting again. Like, even though he's just sitting there, he's still hunting. He's looking out to the distance, trying to find, what's going on, and looking for little fish. I don't know how old this one is, because it looks like there's a little bit of coloring in his crown there, but it's hard to tell. This one here is definitely a younger bald eagle, and this is out in Neah Bay, Washington. And it's almost too easy to find bald eagles there, because they just hang out all the time on the tops of the poles on the fishing boats and the other poles that are parts of the dock. So I'm just kind of exploring, walking around here. You got to be very careful when you're doing this that you don't move your feet while you're taping, or if you ever go out here, because you'll walk right off into the water. You also have to be aware that there's a lot of sea lions around, and they really are not interested in messing with people. But but the sea lions will warn you to keep your distance when they're out there. But these bald eagles are also pretty comfortable with people. They get free stuff all the time, free food from the fishermen, which is actually legal out on native reservations. The argument is, well, it's part of their indigenous heritage, so that's fine. But if you're not native, then don't be feeding bald eagles, because they very well might. You might get a huge fine, and you can even get prison time, I think. So generally you don't want to feed animals, and you want to keep a bit of a distance, because they are wild animals. It's not a zoo. Yeah. So I'm walking out here on the dock, and I discover these sea lions, and they're pretty much always there too, all the time. You can find these guys. I think that's the female on the left. I think that's the male on the right. He's got a brown spot on his skull, which we will be able to see later. And that's a signal that that sea lion has all kinds of wisdom, the wisdom of finding fish wherever it's necessary, I suppose. So that's what he's doing, And they get free fish around here as well, but you can just see them swimming in the bay, finding live fish on their own all the time. Oh no, that one's got a brown spot on his head. I don't know. Whatever. I'm no animal expert. I have a business degree, so you'll have to look up this stuff on your own. But they're pretty fun. But nevertheless, you can definitely tell they're sea lions and not seals because they have a nose that's more protruding. They have a forehead that's more protruding. The seals, regular seals like harbor seals, tend to have more of just like a squished face. They're both cute in their own way. I think seals are a little cuter than sea lions. Sea lions are a little more intimidating. They're pretty big. Not as big as an elk or something like that, but you don't want to get too close. You want to keep your distance and make sure you're staying safe. But they're just out there on the dock sunning, and just to the left of this, from our viewpoint, there's another little cutting station for the fish. So a lot of the sailors just give them, or fishermen I mean, give them free food all the time. So they enjoy that. So they're not leaving these spots anytime soon. If this dock ever moved, though, I find from what I've seen in the past, the sea lions might move to a completely different location. We had a sea lion on the dock in my town for a while, and then they just changed the dock or something slightly, and then the sea lion disappeared entirely. Yeah, that guy's got a much browner tuft on his forehead there. It's kind of hard to see. I still think that's probably the male one. But again, I'm no expert, so use the internet or your friend that you trust more than me for advice on animal-related shenanigans. There we see some other large boats. Some of these boats don't look too fancy, but hey, they're boats. It's expensive to keep a boat on the water. Salt water is deteriorates quite a bit in these things, so that can be kind of a problem sometimes. But anyways, you can see what's going on there with these guys. Here's another one of the bald eagles on top of a boat mast, which is pretty awesome. I like how these guys just sit here and observe everything. I have a lot more video from this area now in higher def that I will upload as well soon, because you can just find bald eagles all over the place in this town. They're just extremely common, obviously enjoying that Native American heritage or something. With the Makah, great tribe, long history here on the peninsula. And there now you can really see that huge brown tuft on his head. So I think that's the male. I think that's a signal of all his unbelievable fish-related wisdom. So he's just right there, taking a little nap after doing a little fishing in the morning or something. And we're not getting too close right now, so we're not going to be dragged under a boat or something like that. Not that they would do such a thing. They're very nice creatures. Just, you got to keep your distance. And I love this part where he's trying to scratch with she's trying to scratch with her fin or something. And then you see some ducks in the background there. It's got to be hard to scratch your back if you only got fins and no hands. But it is what it is. And they're going back to sleep. Just some little adorable sea lion behavior, trying to get the perfect spots on there, because there aren't many pillows out on the dock, unfortunately. And again, you want to make sure when you're on the dock, because they're thin, that you're not moving your feet around when you got a camera or a phone up to your face or whatever, because you'll end up turning to the side, walking right into the water. But it's fine for this guy or gal. She's just sitting there trying to get comfortable on their little dock. It's pretty much their own dock too. They just own it. People don't go out there. They're at the very end of the dock after you walk past the majority of the boats, and they got their own little spot there that they've flagged as their own. So nobody else is allowed to go there, I guess. Some more bald eagles on boat masts. I tried changing the color a little bit because these overcast days, it's just hard to film properly. It doesn't come in that well. But there are a lot of bald eagles on boat masts out here. And there's another one. I suppose they might look the same, but They're not all the same bald eagle. There's a few different ones. I should have maybe done a wider shot so you could see all of them, but we do have that in other videos that are going to get uploaded to the channel this year and over the next few months. So I think it's all right. And this one's the wind is getting him a bit there, but that's all right. So we're walking back now off the dock. And then here I found a bunch of other seals in a different spots on Highway 112. So just another pullout, and you find a bunch of animals. It's pretty easy around here, you know, unlike the city where you can only find like pigeons and rats. You know, you go out to the boonies, and you can find a lot of other things going on. And I just find it funny when the water crosses over the rock and they all stick their little fins in the air. It's kind of cute. They're always trying to get just the right spots on these rocks to sleep. You know, they like it's pretty cool. I never see orcas around this area. If we saw orcas, the seals would probably all disappear and go to the beach or something like that. But you don't see the orcas that far in. Out in the middle of the Straits of Juan de Fuca, you see them all the time. This guy's trying to take a little nap. You can see him moving his little fin around there. It's kind of funny, kind of cute. And there's another seal. So, and another one. There's a lot of them out there just kind of chilling, having a grand old time. And there's back to our original friends there, our seal buddies. They're most active in the morning, but that means that they are out in the water usually, and can't really film them unless you're a diver. And I'm not really a diver, but there are some good channels on YouTube where people dive and take videos of the seals. So that's nice. There we go. This guy's having a stretch. Having a nice little stretch. And this time I fed the crows healthy food. They're eating I gave them a little chunk of apple. So he's eating away at that, and they like that quite a bit, I think. And it's a lot healthier than the Cooler Ranch Doritos like in the other video. I try not to feed too many animals chips. I don't care that much about seagulls, honestly. I just straight up feed the seagulls chips, because they'll eat anything. The only thing they won't eat are like carrots and other types of vegetables. They won't eat anything healthy. So it's like, what are you going to do? They will eat apples. Sometimes the seagulls will swallow huge chunks of apples, which is crazy. But anyways, hope you enjoyed the video. I really appreciate you watching, and I'll keep trying to up the quality of the content so you guys can come back and enjoy more of it.